Thank you so much for joining us on Straight Outta Savannah. I am so excited to be here with my guest, Amy Rempel. She is going to share who she is and what it is that she does. Take it away, Amy.
Hi, thanks so much for having me. I am a certified aromatherapist, Reiki, and EFT practitioner. And I am actually also an energetic business coach. And so obviously the energetic part is my utilizing my modalities, but also helping with some of those actionable items. I do find mindset is extremely important when we're trying to build businesses. And so that's pretty much, a lot of the reason why I do what I do is because it helped me so much as well. And so I have partnered with a company called Women of Impact, and I help them a few days a week in coaching, doing connection calls, and doing their weekly activation, which is great because it's sort of like a meditation. It's pretty much whatever I want. So it's really cool. Yeah, it's nice.
That is so awesome. So how did you get in this space? Because, most of us were not born in these spaces.
No, I was
and
not.
usually there is some type of catalyst or some type of awakening or aha moment. What was it for you, Amy?
Yes, I'd say that I had two actually. So the first time I was introduced to tapping was I had heard about it, and I went to a networking event, and it kept like coming up though for me. And I was like, okay, what is this tapping? And I go to this networking event, and it was just like a little coffee shop. There was like only ended up being three of us. And one of the girls was an EFT practitioner who was happened to be hosting a workshop that night. And I was like, I have to go. I'm ready and it's time. And so when I went, I was amazed at what she was able to uncover. And then not only that, but clear the crap that was going on in my mind to do with money. I had a lot of money blocks. This is like a little while ago now, probably 4 or 5 years ago now.
Okay.
And so I did this session, I did this workshop, we did some clearing, we did some tapping. And in 3 days, I doubled my sales after that session. And I was like, and I've also never got to that amount in my business. So it was the first time I ever got to that amount. And I did it within like 3 days. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, hold on a second. How the heck did this just happen? And so then I was like, started getting interested in doing that. And she was also a Reiki master. And she helped my daughter with utilizing Reiki. And I was a little bit like, I don't know, I'm like energy healing, not really sure. So I go to another networking event, in fact, and my friend Laura does, oh shoot, what's it called? It's not Reiki. There's another energetic modality that she does. Sorry, if I think of it, I'll mention it.
I was going to say there's so many.
There are a lot. It's extremely powerful though. And so I was like, oh yeah, I want to try this. And she's like, okay, like have a seat. Like she had like, a vendor table, whatever. So I sat down and she did it. And I went back to my seat. And about an hour later, I was like, I don't feel very good. My stomach started hurting. And I was like, I went to the bathroom, and I was like getting sweaty, and I was like, I don't know what's wrong with me. And then I went to her and I was like, I don't know what's going on, but like I do not feel good. And so she tried like some Reiki to do some, didn't touch it. I was like, I gotta go because this is just getting worse and worse. Thank God I drove because I was living in the city, so I could have taken TTC. I'm not kidding you. I was in labor, so I had labor pains. I'm driving, getting contractions and screaming at the top of my lungs because I was in so much pain from this physical, I didn't know what it was yet. At the time, I was just like, I was getting sick. I'm going to throw up. I got to get home. So I get home thinking I'm going to throw up. So I'm like at the toilet, but it was coming. All of a sudden, I'm noticing that it is coming like contractions where all of a sudden it would stop and I'd be totally fine. And then it would come again. And I've had 2 kids, so I do know the feeling.
So you know what it's like.
Yeah. So at least I could like recognize it. Anyways, so she messages me and I was like, oh my gosh, it feels like I'm in labor. And she's like, when are you birthing? And I'm like, my business stopped. Completely stopped when I said that. And I was like, okay, what the heck is going on? So that is what got me, I guess, like I had to see it to believe that energetic work, it actually did something. Like it physically affected me, and I didn't know it could do that. I always thought it was very much a mindset or emotional thing. And
Yes.
oh my gosh, it is not. Like I have
Yes.
goosebumps right now, actually, just talking about that
Yeah, me
experience, because as
too.
painful as it was like mind blowing.
Yeah.
Like I was like, I never want that again. However, what the heck, what just happened? So yeah, so it was those two experiences that really got me interested, but also starting to notice a difference in my life in a positive way. And so that's when I was like, I just felt like these were modalities that I wanted to learn more about so that I could help other women who are going through similar things, mainly blockages and worthiness issues
Yes.
was my main thing that I, to this day, just did it yesterday, did some tapping on that for some clients. So yeah, it's unfortunately a thing. It's very rampant, especially among women.
Yes, that is for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
I understand that because I actually had an experience very similar. I had a girl that did prana on me,
Mm-hmm.
and she was in California. I was in Arizona.
Crazy.
And I could literally feel this girl's hands in my body. And that was,
wow.
it was the most amazing thing because I, kind of was like you. I was like, okay, this is, I was just new and I had done Reiki and did the Reiki master thing and all that. And I was like, well, I don't know, that's not doing it for me. So I did other modalities as well. But this girl offered me a prana session. Matter of fact, I think we did a trade. And that thing, oh my God, it opened up my mind. I was like, oh my God, this is real, because you think you're like, oh, it's just mindset stuff, we're going to talk and, they're going to talk to you and speak the words, blah, 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 and all that. But when it actually felt in the body, it's like, oh, wow. Oh, wow. Oh,
yeah.
wow. Yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing. One time I was doing Reiki on a friend. I was sort of just practicing, actually. I just got my Reiki too. And she has severe endometriosis. And I was like, let's just see if we can like relieve some of the pain. And she said she could feel my hands like in her body, like ripping the endometriosis apart, like just because it's all like this, right?
I know that well.
Oh, do you? Okay. So, okay.
No,
So
this
you
is
know
I
the
was
feeling.
12. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
So yeah, and she could actually feel me trying to like get rid of it. It was really, yeah, that blew my mind.
That's amazing. Isn't it amazing? And it's like when it happens, you're like, more please, right?
Oh yeah. It's addictive. Yeah. It
And
totally
how can
is.
I, help somebody in this way?
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
oh my God, yeah. So from there, once you had that experience, that took you to the door of, opening these things up in yourself.
Yeah, and that's when I decided to get my Reiki 1. And then I guess almost a year later, 8 months later, I got my Reiki 2. So I actually haven't got my master's yet. I am hoping to do it within the next year or so, because it's been a while since I've had my Reiki 2. I think I'm ready. It did take a while. I didn't want to do it right away. I really wanted to take my time and make sure that I was like felt ready as well, because I know when I got attuned the second time, things really changed. Like visions started happening, which I've never had before. So I was like, oh gosh, what's going to happen at the master level? Like, what am I going to see? What am I, so that's what I wasn't ready for, was to be fully open.
Yeah.
So,
and many times we think we are, we think we are, we're like, yeah, I want to get this, I want to do this, da da da, and then you start getting into it and it's like, woo, wait.
It's heavy stuff. Yeah. I really think it's important to be emotionally mature. Like,
yes,
I don't know if that's the right word, but maybe you know what I mean. Like you have to be at a good place to have those things occur, because it can be kind of freaky or creepy. And now when things have happened, I'm like excited. I'm like, oh, that was amazing. Like I heard a voice for the first time, like only, I don't know, maybe a month or two ago. And that was the first time, clear as day.
Oh, so your clairaudience opened up.
Yeah, but not like often. It doesn't do it often yet. So I'm like, how do I get more of that? And I keep I'm like, hi, I'm ready. Yeah, you can keep talking. I'm good. Like, but it hasn't. I'm like, come on. But that was really cool. I literally like heard it and I was like, oh, was so excited. Yeah. Yeah, it was really cool. But it only happened one time. So I'm like, okay, maybe when I get my master's, I don't know.
I don't know,
More.
that's my strongest clair and always has been. So it's like I hear
Really?
all
So
the
you hear it
time.
all the time.
All the time. It's like sometimes I have to shut it off
Yeah.
because, I hear into other dimensions even.
Oh,
Sometimes I hear
wow.
music
I've
that's
never heard of
not
that.
on this plane. Like there's no music
No
around
way.
me.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like,
You're hearing
sometimes
it.
it's like I've heard classical music, I've heard other types of music, and it's not like I'll check every device that I have, check my husband. There's
Right.
nobody else here but
So
me
you
and
know.
him. So I know it's not
Yeah.
anything else playing because I've checked. I was like, and I'll ask my husband, I'm like, do you hear that? And every now and again he does too. But sometimes he's like, I say, okay. And then I know
Just
I'm like,
checking.
I'm hearing it exactly. I'm like, I'm hearing in
Yeah.
another dimension, it's not in this one.
Yeah.
And could be for me because music is my jam, like I love music. I love to
I
sing.
can see it behind you.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that
I
makes
love
sense.
it. I love to sing. I used to play instruments growing up,
Oh, okay.
so
Yeah.
so I think that, but I don't know if that actually affected the fact of how clairaudient I was, but it's been my strongest clair, and it's like crazy to me.
Yeah.
But when
I
it first
smell
started,
a lot.
oh, that's another one. Now I don't that much, but when I do like the rose alignment, I always smell roses.
Yeah, I smell people that I knew who have passed.
Oh wow, so
I'll
like
smell
their
them.
perfumes and
Yeah, even their body scent, like my grandfather's, like he passed away quite a while, like my papa on my dad's side. Yeah, he comes through a lot. We were very close, which is, I love it. I'm like, oh, it's my papa. I can
he's
smell
here.
him. Yeah, I can smell him.
Wait, say he's here.
And I do the same thing though. Like I look around and I'm like, who smells like that? Nobody. Yeah. Okay, it's him.
Exactly.
He's like an old Italian guy. He had that like kind of BO scent, but like it's for me, it's so comforting.
Yes.
It was that working in the, he had of course Italian grandfather, big garden, and it was that smell when he would come in from the garden. That's what will come through. Yeah.
I'm getting like an image of like that scene in The Godfather where he was working out in the garden. He's running after the little grandson or something. He was old.
Oh, yeah.
And he's running after the grandson in the garden, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So there's no murders involved or anything.
None of that.
Later on or anything.
No mafia in the
No,
background.
I don't think.
So what did you do in your previous life before you stepped into this one? Was there like a big change or a big shift? Because what I'm noticing as I interview people in this space is like a lot of us, we have like a big, some of us have like a big shift, and some of us have just little tiny shifts, a little, along the way. What was that like for you?
So I would say that this is pretty personal, but I've only talked publicly about this like one time, that I started to leave the evangelical church is when I started opening up to other things, because I knew there was another side. I knew there was a God. I know it.
Yes.
But there was things that were happening that I just could not stand behind anymore, and I couldn't agree with. And that was the catalyst to looking at these other modalities, being open to it. Even like, but it took me so long. Like I actually have a wonderful friend who has been there since the beginning of my journey, actually. And she's a tarot card reader. And it took me probably 3 years for her to read for me, because I was just like, no, that is wrong. That is bad. Yeah.
That's of the devil.
That is of the devil. And I was like, anyway, it took me a long time to do to be okay with tarot cards and oracle readings and stuff like that.
Me too.
And because of the, we were programmed, right?
Yes.
We're programmed to believe that it's wrong and that it's evil. And so especially that took me a long time. So.
But they had the prophets and the prophets come through, right? I mean, did you guys, do the fivefold gifts and all that kind of stuff?
Oh, like at church.
Yeah.
The gifting. I did the whole like survey, the quiz, and figuring out your giftings and stuff like that. Yeah. So it's,
See,
yeah.
that was me too. I was raised Pentecostal holiness. So, everything was the devil, whatever. Tarot, definitely. Oh my God, you could never, they didn't want that in your house.
Right. Yeah. Oh gosh, no. I know.
tarot.
Same. Yeah. Yeah. I didn't grow up evangelical. I actually grew up Catholic.
Oh, wow.
So there was that whole of that over there as well. And so patriarchal and all of that. Yes. But then I became a born again Christian when I was 23. And then at 32 was when I was 32. And I remember sitting in church and my pastor was talking about a passage in Titus about, it was kind of funny. It was about intuition essentially, but he was saying it's God speaking to you, which I believe that too, of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
That God is, if you're getting this really, the deep feeling, like that's God talking to you. And at that moment I was like, we need to leave. That's what that's what God's telling me. This is not the place.
God is speaking to me right now through you, Pastor. Thank you.
Bye-bye. No, I'm kidding. No, they honestly, they were wonderful people. I never had any major issues. It was just, I think as you get, I was getting older. I'm someone who's constantly learning and researching and taking courses, like constantly. And I think that, just delving.
I'm taking a break right now.
Yeah, like, am I don't even know. Yeah, I think I am too, actually. So when so at that time in my life, I think it was just it was where I was at emotionally, mentally, maturity wise, that was like 10 years later almost. Yes. So yeah, I think it just just different perspectives at that point as well. And my husband felt the same way.
Look at your numbers. You were 23 when you went.
Oh my gosh. And they were opposite.
32. Yeah.
Oh, that's so weird.
I was like, wow.
I never even realized that. I don't know a lot about numerology.
Me either, just a little.
But that's interesting. I should look and see what the correlation is there, eh?
Yes.
Ooh, okay. I'm gonna do that.
When you said that, I was like, wow, did she realize that was
no.
like,
I didn't realize
the most awesome thing is that your husband was also on board too. Because I know that's not typical.
No, and I do really like, I know, in the Bible it's like, you shouldn't marry those who, what's the
unequally yoked.
You do not, unequally yoked. And yes. I have to say, I think that's pretty good advice, because if all of a sudden I was like, yeah, no, not for me, and he is like right in there, like, I don't know if our marriage would have survived. I honestly,
most of them don't.
No, I'm sure they
or if they do, they're like, not really in marriage, like living separate, they sleep in separate bedrooms and all this crazy crap.
Right. Yeah.
To me, that's just insane. I mean, if you're gonna be married, sleep together. I mean,
yeah. So he he was always like a little bit behind me in how I was thinking, but he always caught up.
Yes.
And so it really was, I don't know, I'm in Canada, and about probably 2 years ago, there was a mass Indigenous grave found in Williams Lake, BC.
Yeah,
and
I heard about
that was sort of the first of many. And that was actually, I think, the catalyst for both of us to because we were always kind of maybe, then COVID. Okay, well, we're not going to go to church anyway. And then that happened. And it was like, I just cannot be associated with that religion, that man-made religion.
Yeah.
And that's kind of really where it solidified our decision.
Because so much of it has nothing to do with God, is what I found out. I actually had this conversation with my mother yesterday. I said,
really?
I said, it's so much, of God not in it. To me, it's like so much manipulation and coercion and all this kind of crap that goes on in there. And it's like, that can't be God. That was what I said.
No.
I said, there's no way that a big God, as huge as they say that God is, and if he was the creator of all of this stuff and all of these things, then why is he thinking so small? But it's not him.
Oh my gosh,
so
I've
small,
said that.
It's the church.
Yeah. Yes, I've said that about so many things.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I know. It's
like the
really
healing
perplexing.
part too was what got me.
I know.
You go pray, you go up, you lay hands, everybody prays or whatever, and you thank God, for the healing or whatever. And then, nobody gets healed. What is that about? I'm like, so does God not heal anymore? Or, what?
I think we were doing it wrong. We weren't. I think that's the problem. And I always say that I took God out of a box.
Yes.
When I started learning more and more about Reiki and my abilities.
Yes.
Like, how come I didn't have these before? And I think it's because I allowed people to dictate the way that I felt and thought about God.
Right.
And so I'm just, it's really opened my mind up like crazy.
Yes.
And it's really like I when I first started doing Reiki, I had someone message me that I'm doing the work of the devil. And I was like,
you had that too?
Probably the opposite. No, it wasn't.
Girl, they come for me on YouTube sometimes. And I'm like, no.
Oh, really? No, this was my husband's aunt, actually.
Oh, wow. Personal.
Yeah. Because he comes, so that's like partly the reason why I even looked into the evangelical church, is that's his side of the family, is like a long line of pastors and that. So some of them, like, are honestly, most of them are a wonderful. I love them. This one she's a little interesting. She's blocked.
Yep. I was gonna say we all have those.
After that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know what? Sure. Okay. Thank you.
I know. Anyways.
You're entitled to your opinion, but not in my space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So anyways, it's been interesting. Yeah. And now I'm 42. So it's been 10 years since that's not backwards.
You don't look a day over 30.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
And I just feel like I'm at such a good place. And I am the least judgmental too that I've ever been. Now I find. Yes. I'm really honoring, like, I think even I don't think we were recording yet, and you were talking about how we really don't know what's going on with people, even though, we see them and they look fine. You truly do not know what's going on with them. And to prejudge people or to have these snide comments about why they look a certain way. Like, I have zero room and tolerance for that now. And I will never be that person. I just can't do that. And I would totally have done it, like, guilty, but I know now I've put my foot in my mouth a couple of times and learned my lesson.
Don't you love that though?
Oh, I was very thankful.
Don't you love like the growth, your own growth?
How could I do that? And then, and then learn from it and like, okay, don't do that again.
That's so powerful because, the journey is funny because that you say that about the judgment, because that was one of the things that I dealt with last year, like in my life. And I've never been like a super judgmental person anyway. I just not me, because I just, I still always believed in that judge not lest ye be judged. And I always think that, we all have had times and done things in our life that maybe we weren't proud of, and so I don't want nobody standing and judging me. So I'm not going to stand and judge anybody else. But it's like God took me on a deeper journey through that judgment. I mean, in every area, because I noticed that, when you consciously consider and you consciously think about, am I judging, or that kind of thing, then it kind of brings things up and you're able to see areas where maybe you didn't think you were being judgmental, but you actually were, and that was something that's been an amazing journey that I started like this time last year. And I was like, that's just been amazing. Because I was at a place where my word for the year was surrender. And so I was like, I got to surrender, all of these things, all of these parts of me. Was it? Yeah. Sisters from another mister.
Yeah.
I did. I said, really I got to surrender. I got to let it go, and move forward and, through this thing, because I am 54. And so, I noticed that the older you get, the more things that you have to unpack from the past, because we want to release
if you choose to.
Yes, exactly. And that's the part. And for me, it's like different things started coming up. I was like, okay, I'm gonna deal with this, and then I'm gonna deal with this, and then I'm gonna deal with this, and now it's like my word for this year is freedom.
Oh, awesome. Mine's breakthrough.
Oh,
That's amazing.
love it. Love
Yeah.
it. Love it.
Thanks.
Love it.
Those are good ones.
I know. I laugh. I tell somebody, I said, I got it on my mirror. I wrote it in lipstick.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I haven't done that yet. I got to do that.
It's on my mirror. Because somebody asked me something about mirror work, and I said, well, you could do mirror work in a few different ways.
Yeah.
You
literally write it.
Exactly. I said, or you can write it on there with whatever you want. I said, I use lipstick. It's easy to clean. I said, so I write it on there. I said, and after a while, it starts looking junky. I erase it. I said, clean it off, and then I write it back up there.
Yeah.
I am in devotion too, and I think that just makes it so much better. So where do you see yourself going in the future with not only your business, but like in your transition in your life?
I really see myself practicing more, like as I'm reopening finally. I really hope that takes off. I really, really do. I miss it a lot. And just the moments you have with people in a Reiki, even an aromatherapy massage, they open up to you like physically, emotionally, in so many different ways. It's such an intimate setting.
Yes.
And I love it. Like I think that's just part of who I am. People seem to tell me everything. I don't know why. I don't know what
you know why. You know why? Because you have to talk to me on your forehead.
I must.
It's on your forehead. It's on mine too. Yeah. That's how I know.
Gosh. I mean, it makes literally, I will meet a random person and they will like really talk to me. Like
they'll tell you their life story.
Oh, totally. Yeah. So I feel like I think I see that mostly in the near future. I think that's kind of the next phase, and getting my Reiki master certification.
So do you prefer, because this is something that I just learned about myself, like in the last year, I did my first in-person healing. I had never done one. I had always done them on Zoom, because for one thing, before I didn't have I don't have a space, outside my house. So I couldn't do them, like that. And I moved I actually live outside of Seattle, Washington, but I used to live in Arizona. And so I did everything on Zoom. And so this particular time, and it was wild too, girl, because my husband actually pushed me to do this thing because he's so supportive.
Oh, that's
and
great.
I am so, what is that word? I'm such an introvert.
Oh, okay.
So, so Zoom is always comfortable for me.
Right.
But I did the in-person one, and my husband was like, come on. And I just gifted somebody with it. They didn't feel good or something. And I did it. And she was like, oh my God, girl. She goes, I feel so good. I mean, this is just amazing. And, she just went on. And I was like, oh God, this is so good. And I was like, oh, that was great. And so I started doing them in person, but I've been doing them in the vending fairs.
Oh yeah.
So like I did a bunch of them, and to be honest, it was right before I got sick, but I did a bunch of them like this particular day, and I actually could have done more, but I felt my energy, so I stopped. So I was like, no, I got to stop. I can't. Yeah. I was like, I can't do anymore. I said, I can feel my energy. And I didn't realize that was like right when I was getting sick. But I enjoyed it so much. Oh my God. I got so much out of it.
It is different. No matter how much you can do distant Reiki, there is nothing like in person. Because there is that connection that you just don't get virtually. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I would do both. I think both would be a great blend. But yeah, so now you're like, okay.
I'm like, I got to do it. I love it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do. And I'm good with the Zoom because I've been doing it, and I love a nice mix of, some Zoom, some in person, and, that kind of stuff. But I didn't think I could do it, to be honest with you. I was like, I don't know if I have the gift to do that, even though, but it's like in person, it's a whole nother level of intimacy, like you said. Because here on the Zoom, you got the Zoom, between you.
It's true.
But in person. And then the other thing too is, for me, I find that people ask me what modality I use, and I said, I don't use one modality. I use different ones. I pull from different things because I love
Okay.
the color healing. I love that. That is amazing. And it works.
Oh.
Oh, girl, it's so awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And so I found that, and I started using that. And then I got certified in sacred soul alignments, and I love those too. It's just another energy tool. And I'm also a theta healer, and I love that too.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of just use what shows up and what God says to use, and I realized also that, and this is one question I want to ask you. I realized also that I pull from past lives because it's things that I do that I have no idea why I do them. And I have no idea where it came from. Like, I have not been trained in any of some of the things I do. And do you find that happens with you in your sessions?
I would say there's a couple of things actually that have come up that I'm like, what is happening now? I also thought, though, it was because I when I'm newly attuned, like when I got the first, there were some things that happened. The second was like, whoa, like really opened up my crown a lot more to allow things to come through. But what was interesting actually was, so this is something else, I guess, how I decided to get my Reiki training was I was in doing something like another workshop type of thing with the same woman actually who did the tapping workshop, because she's also a Reiki master. I forget what we were doing. It was I don't remember. And she said, put your hand on the other person beside you. And my hand got really hot, and I've never felt that before. And she goes, you're a healer. I was like, what? That was, I have a few catalysts, I guess. But that was one thing that I was like, how did that even happen? Like, I was almost confused.
Yeah.
And then I've had one, did have a person tell me I was a witch in a past life, and actually with my daughter. And so like, I guess in a healing way type of witch, not like, yeah. So then I'm thinking, when you just said that, I'm like, maybe that's what that is from that time when I was, now witch meaning maybe I was like a doula type person, because we know that they called witches, just women who
anything that women did, that's what I was going to say. So if women delivered babies, they were witches.
Exactly. So I was like, so that you just mentioning that, though, that reminded me of that time when my hand got hot and I was so perplexed. And I'm like, oh, now putting that together, maybe that has something to do with it, so.
Yeah, because we pull those things back, we don't even realize it. And I think for me, I was afraid. I was afraid because I felt like once I started realizing that I was receiving those things back, remembering, I think that's what it's called, remembering those things from the past life and using those in the practice of healing. I think it helped me to open up more too. Did you have that experience? Like, it's like once I was like, wow, I am, and I started just really opening up, and I started to just really receive things, for people. So like, while I'm doing the healing session, and what I did, I actually had a table, but I didn't use the table because it was just so big and there wasn't that much room. So I just got 2 chairs, and I have a divider that I use, that I took out my living room. And so it's like a 3-panel divider. So I just put that around the people, and I have the 2 chairs. And so they sit down, and, and I do what I do. And then I sit down and I start talking to them and sharing with them what the spirit is giving me for them. And so I thought that was like such an interesting thing. And I wonder if you have experienced something in that way where, once you just started doing this work, things just started flowing to you or through you.
Yes, definitely. It was the visions for me. Every Reiki session now that I've had, like once I started getting them, it's very rare when I don't. And so I do the same thing. I do a debrief after, because I'm like, so what does this mean? This means nothing to me. So, and then they're like, oh yeah. Then they know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm like, okay. So it's just so reassuring too, because there's been so many times where I'm like, oh, that can't be right. That doesn't make sense. I'm sure they know nothing. But I'm like, no, let me just check. Oh my gosh. Like, okay, yeah, it does. So,
You know what's wild is when I first started doing readings, that would happen to me. I would get things of like, because I always, and I guess I suppose it's my inner child or whatever, but it's like I would get like movie things would flow to me. Just like that, what I just told you about The Godfather,
yeah.
movie stuff would flow, or
Oh,
songs would come in or something like that. And I'm like, in the world, you know, like I remember the first time I told somebody that, you know, I was seeing them like Alice in Wonderland. You know, just roaming around, and next thing you know, you're going down the rabbit hole and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, you know, and I was like, oh, okay.
Makes sense.
But that was something, right? But that was something that taught me also not to judge. You know, not to judge it, just bring it forth. You know, give it to them.
After a few times, that's when I was like, okay, yes, you need to tell them, because every time it's now this happens. So yeah, it started to, I guess, start feeling more normal after a few times.
Yes. That's the thing. It's like, you know, it becomes normal in our world, you know, like, oh yeah, okay, all right. You know, and you're like, look, I don't know what this is about, but I see a quarter, you know, or, you know, I feel like it's your grandmother or, you know, elderly lady coming through talking about blah, 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 blah. And they're like, oh my God, yes, she loved blah, blah, blah. Oh yeah, you know. So it's like,
yeah,
wow, you know, and it's just amazing, right?
It is. And I just like, that's why, you know, when it comes to like Christianity, I don't understand how this isn't a gift. Like when somebody looks at you and cries because they're so happy and they are just like
they got a release,
so thankful for what you've been able to do for them. Like, how is that bad? Like I don't quite understand that. And I even utilize, like I pray to God before I do anything. Like they might not believe, and that's fine, but I literally just like go to their head, say a short little prayer, ask like Archangel Raphael to join me, and then I get to it. And like I know that they're there with me. Exactly. Because I am there. I feel like that's them they're working through me, which is very Christian, like, right? Like utilizing your gifts.
Yes.
But yeah, anyway.
That's what I used to say. Really I would tell people the same. I said, that's so interesting. I said, when I was going to church, you know, they said I had a prophetic gift. So do I not have a prophetic gift because I'm not going to church? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or because I choose to read cards, you know, I mean, and you know, the other part about that is most of us that read cards, we don't need the cards. Cards are just fun. That's the way I think about it.
Yeah. I mean, I like I'm not there yet. I'm really good. The cards I don't know how to read tarot yet, but oracle cards, I'm like, it's amazing the ones I pick that are so relevant, whether it's for me or for somebody else. It's bang on. So I know that, and I do notice, so again, after my second attunement, I can look at cards and one will actually pop out and the others will go fuzzy. And that never happened before. So that's also gotten me a lot more confident in that ability to know that I'm going to choose the right one for whoever, if I'm reading for someone else, especially. But at first, again, same thing. You're just like, I don't know, you're nervous. You don't want to mess up. You don't want to look like a fraud, right? Like there's sort of that.
Or you get somebody that says, like I used to do them online on Facebook a lot. And I would get somebody that said, oh, I don't know about that. And, you know, when that first happens, you're like, oh my God, you know, did I say something wrong? You know, whatever. And then later on, I remember this particular case. Later on, the girl reached back out to me. She said, you remember you told me blah, 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 blah. And of course I didn't remember it because it's coming through me and I don't remember it. And so I said, no. She said, you told me blah, 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 blah. And she told me word for word what I said because I went back and listened to the video.
Oh, right.
And she told me word for word what I said. And she said, I didn't know what that meant. She said, but you know what, it came to me and it means da 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 da. And it just opened up some things for me and da 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 da. And I was like, wonderful.
Yeah, you know? That's pretty cool. Yeah.
And that has happened on a few occasions, you know, or I've gotten people that said, you know, I need to sit with that. And I said, that's perfectly great because that's the way I feel too. You know, because sometimes it's not what you know at that moment. You need to sit chew on it a little bit and kick it around or journal on it or whatever. And then it'll flow and it'll show up and you'll understand it. But that's like, to me, I don't know about you, but I love this work.
Mm-hmm.
I love
Me
it.
too.
It's like,
I do. So interesting. And there's always more to know and learn and experience.
Yes. Oh,
so cool.
I know, because like you, I said, I'm taking a break from classes right now, although I am doing the University of Metaphysics. I am getting that degree, but that's a time thing. But as far as the little courses and stuff that we take and stuff, I was like, I'm taking a break right now. I need a break. I just need to not be looking at that, because there's so many other things that you can study even, without taking the courses. Like I got a couple of energy healing books that I've been studying, and I just been blowing
Still
up and
learning.
opening up my mind. Yes. It's funny because sometimes I'll be sitting down, my husband's like, come watch the show with me, whatever. I'm like, okay. We're sitting down and I got a book. We're watching the show, but I got a book. And I'm sitting down with my book, and I even have a little light, so just in case, there's not enough light. I got one of the clip lights and just clip it on the book. And he's like, "Are you really reading that?" I was like, "Yeah, because it's so interesting." And it's something I wanted to learn. It's something I need to know. And it's such a fun journey. So how are your children on your journey? You got woo children? Or
I have two kids. They're a bit older now. One's almost 13 and one's 16.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so they're a little bit older, but
you're almost done.
I know, it's great.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, no, I mean, I
yes.
They've been on the journey with us for sure.
Okay.
It's amazing. Like they were, especially my son was quite young when I started, and he is like so receptive to it. He's like, my head hurts. I do Reiki, like 5 minutes. Okay, thanks, Scott. Like my head's fine. Like it's crazy how fast
that's amazing.
Takes it. Yeah, like it is quite amazing. And my daughter, the same thing. And she's at an age too where we have really good discussions about faith and spirituality and
that's good.
Why we're no longer in the church, things like that. And it's been really good though. It's been really good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Because it makes it easier, when you have children that are open, when you're on this journey, because my children are all grown. Believe it or not, my oldest is 33. And
oh my gosh. Jeez, so you don't look old enough to have 33-year-old. Holy smokes.
I know, but I sure do feel it. I was there when she was born. Somebody said, "Are you sure you're her mother?" I'm like, yep. I'm pretty sure. Start to prove it, They cut her right out my stomach.
Oh yeah.
Doesn't go away.
No.
But yeah, they're actually pretty woo too. And my grandson is turning 12 this month, and he loves crystals.
Oh, same with my kids.
I bought him some crystals, and then I bought him a crystal Bible for kids. Last year I sent him because he was like so interested. And I just was like, wow, this is so amazing, so amazing.
Yeah, they're so receptive and open to learning new things and have much more of an open mind.
They're going to change the world.
Yeah,
they're going to change the world.
Oh my gosh, definitely. I agree.
That's what I'm excited about, because I think that a lot of those children, they're not going to have to go through these awakenings like we did, because they're going to already be awake. Going to
you're right.
Perpetuate.
Yeah, you're right. That's very true.
Yeah. All right. So let us wrap it up. Share with the people any last words, anything you want to share. If you have any programs or anything that you're feeling and that you're looking for people, or, whatever.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for having me. First off.
It's been fun.
And that was a really interesting, deep conversation. Actually, I think that's the deepest I've gone, to be honest, with the faith journey. It's not always talked about. So thank you for that. I really appreciate it, actually. I'm on Instagram. If anyone wants to follow me, just flip my name around. Rempel.Amy is my Instagram handle. And let's see, I don't know, there's not too much. I do online Reiki and tapping sessions. And then if you happen to be in Collingwood, Ontario, that's where I live, I do in person. I do in person now a couple of days a month as well. And there is links in my bio on Instagram as well for that. And then I also, with the essential oil business that I do, I actually have created a webinar. Again, at the same link, you can find amyrempel.com and register for my free webinar. It's like under 15 minutes, and it's how to utilize essential oils as a holistic practitioner for your own business, how to grow your revenue, but also how it can be, how they can be incredible tools for your clients. So yeah, that's awesome. Kind of what I got going on.
That's awesome. And you know what? And that's my favorite. I love oils.
Yeah.
I love them.
You're my people. That's why.
I'm telling you, it's like before I did this show, I took a nice hot bath because that's my favorite place in the world to go to be. Mm-hmm. So I put some oils and, baking soda, Epsom salt, and oh my God, I just sit there for, way too long.
It's the best. I agree.
It is. I'm like, because somebody asked me, said, if it's something that you could do every day, I said, that's what I would do. If I could take a bath every day, and I do try. And I almost make it. But it's like one of those things, to me, it's like a retreat.
Yeah. Like I try to do it once a week at least. Yeah. And it's so rejuvenating. And water for me, I'm a water sign. Water for me is so energizing.
Pisces?
Aquarius.
Okay.
But I think Pisces is one of my signs. Like there's like different signs, right? It's like you have your moon sign, sun sign,
and moon and rising and ascending or something like that.
Yeah. So I think I have like 2 water signs or something. So
me too.
Yeah. Yeah. So when we moved here, I actually have a pond in my backyard, pretty much.
Oh, nice.
Like looking over a pond, and I can walk about 5 minutes and there's rushing water in a forest behind.
Nice.
That's where I would like to hear. Water is like my favorite thing. Like to hear waves or I love it.
I know we've got the beach about 15 minutes away. So sometimes I just go, even now it's cold. And a quick story, I thought about moving to Canada, right?
Oh yeah.
I have a friend that lives somewhere around Victoria. And
it's beautiful there.
Well, girl, we went to visit a couple months ago. We went on vacation there. It was amazing. I fell in love. People are so nice. The place is beautiful. The food was amazing.
Yes, they have good food there. Yeah.
I was like, wow. And we thought about it, and so we were talking, and she said she's works in the medical field, and I have for over 30 years. And so I said, she was telling me about, what their their flow is, and, their staff ratio and all the stuff. And I was like, oh my God. I said, I need to move there. And I told my husband, I said, if I could move there, I said, I might could continue to be a nurse. I said, because here I'm not going to be able to do it. I said, because they don't, I said, they don't work there, people like a mule, like we do in America. And so my husband looked at me, he said, as soon as I said it, girl, it was so funny. He said, no. I looked at him, I said, well, why not? Because, he hardly ever tells me no. But I said, he said, no. I said, well, why not? He said, it's too cold. You don't like cold.
Victoria isn't as bad though. Victoria actually is warmer out of any place probably in Canada.
Well, they don't normally get. I was gonna say, I live right under them.
Oh, do you? Okay.
I live outside of Seattle.
Oh, right. Okay.
So, because we took the ferry like an hour and a half ferry ride or whatever.
It's that close, eh? Wow.
Yes.
I've never been to Seattle. I've been to Victoria. I have family in Victoria, actually.
Okay. Yeah. You just hop the ferry and come about an hour and a half down to Port Orchard, or you could take it to Seattle, I think, too. But so but no, I don't like the cold here.
Yeah.
So if it's any colder than here,
I don't think so. I don't know.
My husband looked at me, he goes, no. All I could do was laugh, girl, because he was so right about that. I'm like, I can't, because we lived in Arizona, which is, hotter than hell.
It's really hot. I've been there
now. It's beautiful, this time of year. But summer, oh my God.
Summer is crazy hot.
It's crazy hot.
I went there in June or July. I couldn't breathe.
Oh, Jesus.
I was like, like a
Well,
sauna.
you know what I was gonna say, you know what you Canadians do? You come to Arizona during the winter. And then as
Yeah,
soon as the
yeah. I
winter's
had to go
over,
for a business thing. That's why.
yeah.
But
Because
I would
we met
not
a lot of
normally.
snowbirds there in
Yeah.
Arizona from Canada. Lots of them. We were like, wow, And they were like, yeah, we come for the winter. And then we go back home in the summer.
I'm doing that 100%. I'm not going to be here, and you will not see me here in the winter after 60 years old.
I feel you with everything in me, because
Yeah.
my goal is like, I want to do this type of thing. Like, we bought some land, so we're putting our little house on it and stuff. But what I want to do is, whenever I want to travel in the winter, I want to start packing up in the winter. And whenever I want to travel, if I want to go somewhere for a month, go to the Caribbean, go to Mexico, Thailand, wherever's warm, during the winter, just so that I don't have to be here if I don't want to. That's my goal.
Yeah. It's a good goal. I'm with you.
It's like, no, it's too cold. It's going to be snowing. Oh no, let's get on the plane. Let's go. Let's get out of here. All right, Amy. All right, well, we're gonna shut this down. Thank you so much for joining me. This has been so much fun. I have enjoyed you, and I appreciate you for taking the time to come into my space. It's just been amazing, and
my pleasure.
Our conversation I love.
Same.
So if you would like to get in touch with Amy, her details will also be in the show notes. So you can go in there and click on the links and stuff that she has provided. So that is one of the things that I am super, super excited and grateful. And I cannot wait to see, what goes on for her later as time goes on. Because, as women, we just get better and better every decade.
100%.
Yeah. I receive that and I accept it, and I try to tell all women that, so that women can, be looking forward to the aging. Because for me, I'm so excited to be 54. I don't know what the hell to do. Because I think about, times when I didn't think I was going to make it, and then I think about people that I know that didn't make it. Like I have friends I have one good friend, she died at 44, and I'm like,
oh wow.
You know what I mean? And it's, when you think about that, it's like, yes, because people are like, oh, I don't even celebrate my birthdays the older I get. I'm like, that's stupid.
Oh, I do.
I do. I celebrate mine for a month.
Oh, I do about a week, but yeah.
Like, because your birthday's coming up.
Yeah, February 7th.
Yep. Well, happy early birthday.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.
You are so welcome. All right, so we're going to get off, and I want to thank you so much for joining us on Straight Outta Savannah. My guest, Amy Rempel, has been amazing, and I just love her journey. So make sure that you follow her on Instagram and wherever you see her. Check out her website and, give it a spin and see if it's something that she has that can help you. So again, thank you so much for joining us on Straight Outta Savannah. I hope that your day is magical whenever you are watching this or listening to this. And I hope that you also share this out so that other people can hear the beautiful journey that Amy has been on. So thank you so much. Bye now.